Hello everyone and welcome to Poser's Full Movie Recaps. Our film today is the latest franchise of the famous Indiana Jones movies, where Indy races against time to retrieve a legendary artifact that can change the course of history. The story opens in 1944 during World War II in Germany, where Indiana Jones has been captured by the Nazis led by Colonel Weber. They believe him to be a spy and leave him to be hung for his supposed crime. The colonel collects several artifacts that he refers to as spoils of war, including the Lance of Longinus, which was believed to be the blade that drew Christ's blood during crucifixion. Luckily, Indy is able to survive his impending demise when a bomb drops down on the same base, taking out the enemies while giving him a chance to escape the rope on his neck. In the middle of the commotion, Indy's colleague Basil Shaw, an Oxford professor, has been captured by the enemies to be interrogated. Indy sees Basil getting dragged by the soldiers, so he hijacked a car to pursue the train where Basil was taken to save his friend. He also intends to retrieve some artifacts that the Germans had stolen, and along the way, he is able to fight off several soldiers and board the train. At the same moment, the colonel questions Basil about his mission and identity, when Jürgen Voller interrupts and informs Weber that the lance is a replica. Voller shows the colonel that he's in possession of the Antikythera, the Archimedes dial. Indy finds the location of the lance while posing as a German officer, and he too quickly realizes that it's a fake. He then proceeds to look for Basil, and evades the soldiers that have been trying to capture him. When Indy finds his friend, they also find Voller and knock him out. As they try to escape the train, the pair take the Antikythera with them while fighting their way through hordes of soldiers. Weber chases them to the roof of the train and fights Indy, until Basil is able to get a hold of a weapon and shoots the colonel while Indy kicks him off the train. When Voller finds them, he tries to pursue the duo to get back the dial, but when Indy throws him the bag, he gets knocked off the train. Seeing that the train is about to be derailed by the Allied forces, Basil and Indy jump into the water to save themselves. Time jumps to 1969, Indy wakes up on the day of the Apollo 11 moon landing where celebrations are being held everywhere. He prepares to go to work at Hunter College as a professor, where his students are uninterested as he discusses the Battle of Sicily, as well as the work of Archimedes. The only person who shows interest in his lecture is a young woman named Helena, who eagerly tries to contribute to the discussion. After class, Indy gets a surprise celebration party for his retirement, and afterward, he heads outside and Helena follows him to a bar. When Helena approaches him, he is delighted when he realizes she is Basil's daughter, and therefore his goddaughter. Unbeknownst to them, Voller, who somehow survived the train incident and now works for NASA under the name Schmidt, has directed some CIA agents to follow Helena. Meanwhile, Helena discusses her research on Archimedes' dial with Indy, and explains that according to her dad's journal, the dial has been split into two parts. She asks him where exactly he had lost the dial during the train incident, and expresses her desire to look for it so she can continue her father's work. Indy tries to discourage Helena as her father Basil becomes obsessed with the Antikythera and it nearly drives him crazy. At the same moment, a CIA agent named Mason is with a former Nazi agent Kleber, who is disguised outside the bar to secretly surveil Helena's movement. They have come to seek the Archimedes dial, as Voller believes that it can be used to undo the past and help the Germans win the war. Indy takes Helena to the storeroom at the college, and agrees to hand her the piece of the dial that Basil kept. He tells her that according to her dad's research, the device might possibly predict fissures in time and can be used to time travel. Outside, Kleber and his brutish right-hand man Hauke have followed them to the school, and start to rummage through the things inside. They finish off two of Indy's colleagues before trying to corner Indy and Helena, but the woman runs away with half of the dial, leaving Indy trapped with the enemies, revealing her unsavory plan to get her hands on the artifact. Indy is able to knock over a row of shelves which crushes one of the agents, while Helena escapes through the roof. Indy tries to call the police, but gets taken by the CIA, who questions him about his relations to Helena. When the vehicle stops due to the barricades, the agents are forced to walk in the middle of the parade with their prisoner. Indy is able to fight them and run, and takes a horse from police to escape through the subway tunnels. Kleber follows him to the tunnels, but Indy manages to outrun his pursuers before hopping on a train himself. Meanwhile, Mason calls Schmidt to report what has happened to the device. When Schmidt sees the file on Indy, he quickly recognizes him as the man on the train, and immediately orders a secure private charter to Morocco. With the dead at the college, Indy is framed for the murders of the two professors. Before a citizen who recognizes him can call the police, his old friend Salah arrives and takes him to his place. Salah tells him what he knows of Helena, who turns out to be an antiquities smuggler and possibly intends to auction the dial to the black market. He adds that a hotel in Tangier, Morocco will be hosting its annual auction of stolen antiquities, and Indy should be able to retrieve the artifact and clear his name. Initially, Indy thinks that his days of exploring are up, but Salah convinces him otherwise. Salah gives Indy a ride to the airport, gives him his old bag and hat, and adds that he wants to come with him. But Indy refuses as his family needs him more than the adventure he seeks. While on the plane, Indy has a flashback of when his friend Basil informs him of his discovery about the Antikythera, where Archimedes was able to predict the fissures in time using the device. Indy was skeptical as he believed his friend was getting too obsessed with the dial and begged him to stop. Basil relents and makes Indy promise to destroy the device, but instead, Indy has kept it hidden, which is now in the hands of Helena. Sometime later, Indy arrives at a casino in Tangier, owned by a criminal called Big Rahim, and finds Helena taking bids for the dial. Indy enters the private auction and interrupts the bidding when suddenly, Schmidt arrives and claims that the dial is his. He exchanges some polite insult with Indy, who both recognize each other, while Helena continues and tries to encourage a higher bid. But another man takes the dial and threatens everyone. In the middle of the commotion, Indy takes hold of the artifact, but when all the attendees point a weapon and fire at him, he quickly hides under the table. Helena takes the dial from Indy and gives it to her young sidekick Teddy Kumar, but Schmidt takes it from the boy and drives away. Outside, the police try to apprehend Indy and Helena, but suddenly leave when they see the son of Big Rahim arrive. He has a bone to pick with Helena for apparently jilting him, and thinks that Indy is her new boyfriend. The duo escapes through the marketplace, where Teddy picks them up using a motor tricycle called a tuk-tuk. After successfully evading Rahim's men, Helena and Teddy try to ditch Indy, but the man chases them while chasing Schmidt's car at the same time. Indy is able to reunite with Helena and Teddy, but the woman is determined to get back the dial and jumps into Schmidt's car. After some fighting, the goons are able to shake off Helena from their vehicle and escape. Both frustrated for not being able to get the dial back, Indy asks Helena why she ends up in a life of crime. Helena just continues mocking Indy while calling him a grave robber, and adds that being a family is not his strong suit. Meanwhile, Schmidt and his underlings board a plane with Mason and her team, and she lectures them about the chaos they had caused during the parade. She also refuses to take him to the Mediterranean for his quest for the other half of the dial, so Schmidt and his men hijack her plane, shoot Mason, and tell her his real name is Voller before she loses her life. Back in Tangier, Helena reveals that she knows the location of the Graphicos, another device of Archimedes, which can be used to locate the other half of the dial. Even though they are both reluctant to trust each other, Indy and Helena decide to team up as they need each other, so they can find the Graphicos first before Voller can locate it. They board a plane to Athens, where Indy enlists the aid of his old friend Ronaldo, a boat captain. He agrees to take them somewhere in the Aegean Sea, and figures the closest location of where the Graphicos was sunk. Helena asks him what he would do if he could go back in time, and Indy answers that he would convince his son to not enlist in the Vietnam War where he died, because his death has broken him and his wife so bad, that they are now in the process of divorcing. The next day, their boat arrives at the location and Ronaldo instructs them how to safely dive into the water, and warns them to avoid the eels. He then joins Indy and Helena as they scuba dive to locate the tablet, and manage to pry the Graphicos from the shipwreck. Unfortunately, Voller and his men find their boat and cut their oxygen supplies, forcing them to swim back to the surface. Voller immediately takes the Graphicos from Indy's group, and Ronaldo finds that most of his crew has been shot. Voller forces Indy to read the Graphicos, and when he refuses, the man shoots Ronaldo, causing him to die. He then tries to entice Helena to join their cause by giving her diamonds, and once she reads the tablet, they learn that the second half of the dial lies at the tomb of Archimedes himself. Unbeknownst to them, Helena is hiding a stick of dynamite that Indy helps her light, giving them and Teddy a chance to escape through Voller's boat. While sailing away, Indy takes a moment to mourn his friend Ronaldo, but Helena reveals that she misled Voller about the location of the tomb of Archimedes. Indy takes the tablet and melts the wax coating it, revealing a golden plate that can lead them to the real tomb's location. As Indy deciphers the golden plate, they learn that they need to go to Sicily to locate the cave of Dionysus. Once they arrive in Sicily, Teddy splits off from the group as he doesn't like Indy running their operations. Unfortunately, Teddy gets captured by Voller's men after the Nazi group follows them once more. Indy witnesses them taking Teddy away and tries to chase Voller after stealing a wedding car with Helena. They figure that Voller will not hurt Teddy but use him to learn the location of the tomb, so they go straight to the cave to locate the dial first. As the duo tries to find the tomb inside the cave, Voller and his men arrive with Teddy handcuffed to Hauke. Helena and Indy reach a part of the cave where methane gas is released when they enter, and Indy figures a way to the tomb through the pool of water. Meanwhile, Hawk's heavy weight causes a footbridge to collapse, sending him and Teddy to the water to be swept away by the current. Luckily, Teddy manages to take Hawk's keys and leave him trapped underwater to drown as he swims away. Helena and Indy finally find the tomb of Archimedes, and are able to take the dial from Archimedes' hands, along with a 20th century wristwatch. Helena quickly jumps to the conclusion that Archimedes has traveled through time, but before they can leave, Voller manages to locate them yet again. After taking the dial from them, he combines the two halves of the device to make it whole. Indy and Helena try to escape, but while exchanging fire with Voller's men, Indy gets shot in the shoulder. Helena and Teddy are able to escape the commotion, but Voller takes Indy with them, as they intend to ride a plane through a storm that will open the portal unlocked by the dial. He then divulges his plan to go back in time and finish off Hitler, since he already knows all the mistakes he would make, and believes that he can undo the past so the Nazis can win the war. When Indy sees the watch that Voller wears, he recognizes it as the same watch on Archimedes' tomb but stays silent about it. Teddy and Elena follow them on a motorcycle, and when they reach their location, she sends Teddy to hotwire another plane so he can fly after them. Unable to wait for Teddy, Helena sneaks into Voller's plane through the landing gear, while the sleeping pilot inside the plane that Teddy took, helps him to properly fly it. Indy then tells Voller that Archimedes didn't take continental drift into account, so they would not end up going to the start of World War II. Voller realizes too late that Indy is right, as both planes go through a portal that takes them to the siege of Syracuse in 212 BC. When their plane is shot by one of the siege weapon, Helena and Indy grabs a parachute and jump off the plane. Just after the pair escape, the plane is shot down by the Roman soldiers as they mistake it for a dragon. Voller and Kleber perish with the plane when it crashes, while Teddy and the pilot try to find a way to land safely. Meanwhile, when Archimedes spots the planes, he goes out to investigate the wreckage and pries the watch from Voller's lifeless body. He then finds the dial from the ruins, and proceeds to get to Indy and Helena when he sees them land. Indy thinks that what they are seeing is incredible, and gives Helena the formula to get back on their own time. He then expresses his desire to stay in the past, as he feels that there's nothing left for him to go back in the future. Teddy's plane lands safely near his friends, and when Archimedes and his acolytes find them, he gives the dial to Indy but keeps the watch with him. They then realize that the dial will not really take them to any other time but 212 BC, and Indy tells Helena again that he wants to stay. Teddy yells at them that they need to hurry because the fissures are closing, and Helena, fearing a time paradox, knocks Indy out to take him to the plane. Indy wakes up in his apartment once more and finds Helena with his estranged wife Marion, Teddy, Sala, and his grandkids. They leave Indy and Marion to privately reconcile, and Indy realizes that his wife still needs him, as much as he needs her as well. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. You can also hit the notification bell and like the video to help the channel out. Thank you.